Hi guys and welcome to the Ridecast. My name is George and I'm going to be your host for today's episode. Whether you're listening on Spotify or watching along on YouTube, thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to have you around. Now, without keeping it too long into the introduction, we're going to be bringing you some really cool news topics within the motorcycle industry this week and also have some really cool special guests who've got some amazing stories and wicked products to showcase. So let's get into the episode. Kal, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So before we start getting into everything, I want to kind of focus today's episode on motorcycle security. Obviously, this is your background, your forte. So without kind of giving too much away, so do you want to sort of go through your background, your experience, your history, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so thanks for having me first. And thanks for giving me beer. That is probably a bad idea. But in terms of background, the only background I have is I've been a biker since I was born. And I had an R6.
Was that your first bike you had? Or?
My first bike in the UK, a large bike. I had an R6.
What year did you have?
2013.
Okay, 13S.
Yep, I think I've seen on the 13S, yeah. I think that's the bike I was falling in love with when I was a kid. I've seen on the posters and stuff. A younger adult or a younger kid. And I thought I'm going to have that bike one day. And then one day I was sitting at work and I was just like browsing and someone said, oh, mate, like one of my mates has a bike and whatever. And the next day I had the bike delivered. Cheapest chips. I think it was a PCP deal for a 3-4-year-old bike. It was about 80 quid a month with the deposit.
Jesus Christ.
So it's like nothing, right? Anyway, so I was sitting in the garage and I have this nature of tinkering, doing stuff that I'm not supposed to. Like instead of focusing on my real job, I know most of the time I'm focusing on something else.
Yeah.
And I was looking at all these padlocks and all the security devices out there and I could hear all this theft. I think it was 2017. And all the theft was getting rampant for motorcycles in the UK. And I joined all these theft motorcycle Facebook groups and stuff, right? And people were talking. I kept seeing these padlocks being caught, and people keep talking like, "Oh, security shit. There's no such thing out there." And I thought to myself, like, what? Every single security device I see has the shackle of the padlock.
Yeah.
It's normally the thinnest one, right? 10 mil, 11 mil, 12 mil.
Like the old Yale shed locks, really.
Yeah, exactly, right? And it's every single time was visible. So companies came out with these like super duper heavy padlocks, but it was paired with a really bad chain. Yeah. So I thought, well, you cut the chain and the padlocks. Well, you're not going to attack the padlock because it's so solid. Why would you attack the padlock? You attack the chain. You always go to I always call this a single point failure, right? On the padlock, single point failure is not the cylinder, it's the shackle. Because the cylinder you can drill it, but you less likely you're going to get it unlocked. But if you cut the shackle, you're not wasting time. You know you're going to get it unlocked, right?
Yeah,
straight in. And I always call that a single point failure. So I kept looking. All the disc locks had a single point failure. I had looked at chains, obviously, the padlocks, and every single device. We didn't have these anti-grinder D locks or shackle
like the light lock.
Light lock and stuff like that. So they are really brilliant, but we didn't have that. So I thought to myself, like, I'm sure you could design something better, right? So it took me probably about 2 years to learn Fusion 360. So I'm kind of techie guy with computers and stuff.
Okay, so what is Fusion 360? Because I don't even know what
that
is.
So Fusion 360 is a CAD designer software. So you design stuff in 3D and then you start manipulating and then you start fitting parts together, doing measurements and stuff. So it's pretty much like CNC operators used to design stuff.
Yeah.
Took me about 2 years to learn how to design stuff. Very basic stuff, right? Only round things and blocks and stuff. But I played around so much that I came up with something, and then I spent hell a lot of money. Kept sending these parts to someone. Actually, let me go back a bit. I actually paid someone first to design the parts for me. So I sat next to someone that was 60 quid an hour.
Okay.
He was designing, and I just like couldn't relay my feelings and I don't know if I didn't have the vocabulary in English by then, but I couldn't relate to him what I wanted. So he kept designing something different. Right, so I wasted time. I downloaded the free software, Go Fusion 360, you can download it for free. Literally looks like paint, right? I started designing, it took me 2 years until I got to a point. Then I spent a lot of money sending it to get it 3D printed as a prototype. A lot of money. And then I thought, well, might as well buy a 3D printer. So I had to learn how to 3D print from my CAD stuff.
It's always the way you find the idea and then you go, actually, I need to buy this in order to do that. So then you go, okay, it's 100 quid for this, but it's 2 grand for this. You're like, well, I'm halfway there now.
Luckily, the 3D printers were like quite cheap and they were coming in. So I think I bought a 3D printer for like 350 quid. And a whole set of 3 prototypes would have cost me 350 quid.
When did you get the 3D printer? How long ago were
I
we
was
talking?
at China probably about 5, 8 years ago.
I was going to say, because I remember when I was at school, when we used to do like the DT lessons and that, we had like
baby, aren't you?
yeah, I know, I'm only 28. So like when we used to do the CAD design and stuff on there, it was bad enough me trying to wrap my head around that. Like I'm not exactly thick, but when I'm trying to go through all of this sort of software, and it's like you need to do this and you need to do that, and then you can create a line from A to B, and I'm like, I just want to cut a square out of a piece of 3mm plastic. Why is this so difficult? Like CAD in its own element is so hard to wrap your head around. To get like really intricate and make some really cool designs on there, to then take it from your 2D shape on a flat surface to then morph in something 3D. I don't care what anyone says, and you may turn around and say it's quite easy because you know the ins and outs of it. That's hard. Like that is hard to get any sort of genuinely good design out of that software.
So I think I have about 5, 6 years experience, all on my own. No YouTubes, no tutorials, only if I'm stuck at something.
That's the best way though.
And I'll tell you what, I probably know 1% of it.
Wow.
1% of it. People do unis to know that ins and out. Like I can design anything that's like basic stuff. Like I'd say my first product was basic, right? Because it was a padlock and it was a pin and another padlock on the other side. Very basic stuff, only holes, extrusions, cutting and stuff. And then just like filing down corners, right? That's super, super easy to do. And you could learn to do that because all you have to do is just like click there and then click round the corners, and it rounds the corners by 2mm if you say.
Yeah, I get you.
The most difficult part is when you start doing intricate stuff. Like I started doing now, like you design your own padlock, right? So then you have the shackle and how the shackle goes in and what keeps the shackle in, and design the keyway and how
you're then designing everything. You're not just going off the general cuts and hollow points. You're, like you say, you're making your whole mechanism and where it's going to sit and how
parts to fit together, which is the most difficult thing. Because, you know, in your head you think, oh, I'm just going to allow a little bit of space for this part to move with that part.
And then it's either not enough or too much.
Exactly. And and if it's too much, then it can be exploited. Like they can shim the padlock or something. But if it's not enough, it might be good for you to test, but once somebody uses it as -10 degrees or 2 degrees in the winter, it might be too tight.
That's a good point, yeah. Expansion and contraction.
Yeah.
Little things like that. But you can't account for that on the software. Or can you?
You can, yeah.
You can.
There's I looked into it and there's basics of like, okay, if it's a moving part, allow like 0.2 mil. If it's and the thing is as well, how much you're going to spend in like...
See, that genuinely baffles me, 0.2 of a mil for tolerance. That's
so a very good point. So my first product, I allowed 0.2 mil, and then it came and I got it powder coated and nothing fit together anymore.
Right. Do you remember when I had the, oh bloody hell, on my rear wheel on the bike, the little rubber, I can't remember the name of them now. Little rubber rings that the wheel, the hub, sprocket carrier.
Oh,
there
yes,
we go.
yes.
Got there eventually.
Yeah.
The little rubber rings that go on the sprocket carrier.
Yeah.
So when I was messing about, definitely wasn't doing wheelies, and then all of a sudden I felt like a little pop. That was because the wheels were powder coated. It pushed everything out slightly. It then had a slightly bigger gap than normal, and those rubber spaces were then able to squish down and work their way out. So I know tolerances are pretty fine, but I mean, that's on quite a big scale. So what was that tolerance on specifically? At 0.02 mil. I know you said you then had it powder coated.
I'm fitting parts together. Like actually, like on my first product, the one side of it, like you know this pin that we have now on TufLuck.
Yeah.
There's like, and people will see in a bit, but as the pin on one side and a big block on the other side, what I try to do is I try to say, okay, well, if someone somehow grabs both sides and twists it, it won't snap.
Okay.
So I made one side being mobile, so it rotates on the axle of the locking device that I designed.
With you.
So if you grab both sides, it will just twist like this, right?
Yeah.
And then that's because it was multiple layers of like a T shape that had to have tolerance everywhere. So in 3 different places, you had to have tolerance.
Right. Okay.
To fit in.
With you.
And when both sides had powder coat, both parts separately got powder coated.
Yeah.
Then they both got something like 0.89 of microns. And then you have your machining standard of tolerance, which can be super fine, or standard or whatever. Depending how much money you're spending, they can machine it to a certain tolerance. Everything got so tight that 20,000 pounds of orders didn't fit.
Jesus Christ, it's not exactly a couple of quid, was it?
No, and the problem is as well that got it made in Asia. They powder coated in Asia as well, and the parts that did fit didn't package properly, so they kept hitting each other, knock the powder coat off each other. And they had magnets fitted in as well. So that means that if we sandblasted it ruined the magnets.
Yeah.
The magnets didn't come out as it was fully, even with sandblast. Couldn't bake them again because magnets were in.
Bloody hell.
And the parts that didn't fit together had to be remachined and retaken. So basically we got a 50% back from China, which we're lucky to get.
Yeah, they usually just washed their hands with you.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
I had Alibaba protection for a bit more money. We got 50% back, and the next order came okay. And on that one, we had more tolerance for paint and everything. So
on the topic of design then, so with your sort of background and history we'll relate this to security specific.
Yeah.
What was your first sort of innovation that you made, essentially?
My first innovation.
Well, I say first.
As in security.
Let's go for your first one for security innovation.
Okay, cool.
Go for your first security one, and then your sort of first well-known one, should we say?
But that's the only one well-known. It's not well-known. It's known. It did cause a bit of panic in the market. So what it was is, it was called Atua. So my company is called Atua, A-T-U-A. It's a reference of from a movie. It's a god of gods, basically. It's a grey alien kind of thing, right? So it's one of my other passions. I like to look into stuff like make sure the Earth's not flat. No, I'm just joking. I know the Earth's not flat.
Dumb things, yeah.
I like aliens and technology and stuff. So anyway, so this is going back to like the R6. I was looking and I thought, well, what I could design a something like a disc lock, make it somewhat portable, that could basically fit on the disc.
Okay.
And my idea is like, okay, well, every single one of them that fits, they have the shackle on show. Okay. So you cut the shackle, off comes, throw it away. So what I've done is I tried to make big enough loads of metal, manganese metal, which is like a work hardening steel. They normally use it on the nail of the diggers.
Oh yeah,
because it's very hard wearing.
Yeah.
And the more you use it, the harder it gets. So it's like a work hardening steel, they call. And then what I've done is like I kind of like sandwiched it together, and I've noticed that those container padlocks, the square ones.
Yeah.
So they're very, very secure, right?
They're like bloody heavy. Yeah.
So if you get a really good one, like I used the Squire one, it had like Sen 4, I think the highest rating in padlock rated.
They're the ones where, correct me if I'm wrong, but the padlock essentially is that the access points at the bottom, half twisted standard, but the whole thing drops, and then you can rotate it 180 to lift
the square ones. The square padlock, and then literally like the pin pulls out, pulls in.
Sideways ones.
Sideways ones, yes. Container.
Container ones.
It goes for containers, yeah, exactly. So I thought I got one of those, and then I put my little pin and thing, my device on it, and I thought, well, why would anyone go for the padlock to attack? The shackle's there. So the shackle was on show, right?
With you.
So I haven't done anything. So what I've started doing is then I called it the shield. So what it was is like, you know how the padlock, the square padlock, has that gap in the middle where when the padlock has the gap in the middle, the shackle goes through, and then you hook it to something.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I've done a little housing, and you could probably put like the design of it in the video, but it went on the padlock.
Right.
My device fit into that, and a padlock locked everything together.
Okay, so it basically it covers that weak point.
The weak point was covered.
So it was semicircle lock. It's covered.
Semicircle, exactly. It was from the front. It's like a circle. On the back, it was a semicircle to fit into that gap of the padlock. And what that made is that the padlock was super secure. Then the shackle was hidden, so that was like it was 3 pieces fitting together, and it was like a super good. So then I started like the 3D printing stuff I was telling you. Yeah. Then I started I've ordered one in plastic, fitted it to my bike. It doesn't fit. Why it doesn't fit? Take loads of notes, try snapping it by hand, simulating.
Back and forth.
Exactly
constantly.
that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I noticed is like, okay, well, I made a really small one that sandwiched the disc together. And if you need to cut it, the easier way to cut is cut the disc because it's a softer metal. But you'd have to cut a bigger piece out than the size of the discs, the pads. So that means when someone's pushing the bike, the pad's more likely to fall in together.
Yes, we had this discussion at Motorcycle Live, didn't we?
Yeah.
When we see that bike that had the one that was pre-fitted onto the brake caliper.
Yes, that's it, yeah.
And I hate that design because God forbid that fails when you're out and about riding, the spring just goes, you know what, I'm not going to hold this back anymore. You pull a front wheel stoppy at 140, you'll know about it pretty quick.
But I looked into that. Apparently you can remove the pin. So the pin with the key comes out of that device.
But how does that change anything? Because
So when you put the pin back in and lock it, the pin stays in, locked.
so when
When you
so
unlock
when you take it out, the pin physically.
Yes.
Okay, so you can't pull a front wheel. So someone has thought about it. Then.
Someone did think about
That's
it.
the
Because
first thing that panicked me.
Everyone.
I swear
But-
to God, imagine. I'm not being funny. Imagine we're like tear-assing down the road, on Beaver, and then all of a sudden it just goes.
Someone's
"Do you know what?
locked.
I'm going to energise now. Game over." Yeah.
I don't like to talk about bad stuff about other companies and stuff because everybody goes through a process of design and their product's the best, right? But in my view, asking a customer to undo their brake pads or the caliper to fit a lock, and it's an aluminium lock. And again, the shackle's there. Like, it's a really easy cut. You come from the bottom with an angle grinder, a 9-inch disc, and just like the shackle's gone like a second.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a long time. And again, like with my design, not that my design was the best. We had the downsides, obviously, but because it was a big piece, you had to trim a lot of disc. So that means that
you're adding time to the theft cycle. You're adding a heck of a lot more time, which is
exactly that. When you design motorcycle security, you're in the business of saving your time and wasting someone else's.
Yeah.
Like, so I save your time without you don't have to claim for your bike and it gets stolen, and wasting someone's time who wants to steal your bike. That's the main idea. You cannot make a security that's like, they'll take the wheel off or they lift it and take it away. Hip lock, very good. 8 discs.
Yeah.
But 4 lads, 3 lads pick a bike up and take it.
This is what we said at MCL, wouldn't we? So if you really put it like, easiest way to explain it, it's a deterrent. Any deterrent is a good deterrent. Doesn't matter how long it takes to get through it. If it's good enough, it's good enough.
Yep.
And like you say, if you've got something that is through the wheel and it's like, that's going to take me so long to drill through, chances are they're not going to bother trying because it takes too long. But if they come with the right parameters and they've got a van, you take 4 Dannies, for example. You take 2 Dannies. They're in the back of the van straight away.
Yeah.
But that's part of it. But this is where I think the engineering and the ingenuity comes into it, where you go, okay, well, they can lift that. What can we do to mitigate that risk? What can we do to make it so they can't lift it? Which is, obviously, we're going to go through yours in a bit anyway, but I think that's the big difference of noticing a problem and going, okay, cool, let's make this. And they go, okay, well, now we can't break that in a minute. What can we do to get this bike away and have more time? Well, we can lift it. So then they turn up in vans and they do more than what they would normally do by rocking.
They won't do it. They won't do it because your neighbour's bike's not protected, or the one in town centre is not protected.
They'll just look at that and go, no, not bothered with that one. And they'll go to the next one.
So I'm from Romania, right? So there's people quite, how should I say, to make it friendly. It's I'm not saying it's a very opportunistic country. It's a very inventive country, right? So they'll come up with stuff like you wouldn't even think of. Like, somebody would just climb up on a tree and then hotwire the landline and make calls to no one. Don't know who done that, but like, right. So it's like, it's a very country like they have to do most of the stuff themselves, and they have double jobs most of the time. Most people have, and then the men are like very handy with stuff, and even if they don't know how to do it, they'll figure it out, right?
Is it like sort of the equivalent of the old school traditional British value, where it's like you don't pay someone to come and do it, you try and do it yourself until you know you cannot do it, and then you get someone to come and do it for you?
Yeah, it's a huge weakness of you saying I can't do it, and not many people say it. So sometimes you feel like a Romanian guy would say like, oh yeah, I know how to do it, and you think, oh, he's so cocky, he has no idea how to do it. But he has the mentality like, I know how to do it, I'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And then if I mess it up, I'll pay for it. If I don't mess it up, I've done it, I've learned.
It's almost, in my opinion, it's positive self-sufficiency. Yeah. That's the way I'd look at it.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing, because one, you learn how to do stuff. And then the thing is as well, like, what they say is like, of every job, half is the mindset, right? If you put your mind to it, you can do it. It's not that difficult. Yeah. But I'm not asking you to operate on your newborn daughter or whatever. But you can do most stuff. I mean, most of my life has been self-taught. So most of his life is like, my dad was an engineer and he had loads of masters and everything. I wasn't very good at school, but he came home and I took the radio apart because I wanted to see what's inside of it, right?
Yeah.
When I was 7 or 8, fixing computers. But this is the type of the country I'm from.
We're similar in that aspect. So when Alan and Grandad, when I was between sort of ages 6, 8, 9, something around that area, they had quite a big business running in Milton Keynes. And I was really into computers. Like, my whole life, all I wanted to do was just be behind a computer, be that nerd without the glasses. I know it is. I know that now. But I was always doing stuff. And they got a virus on their work computer. And like most people, just go get an antivirus, plug it in. Didn't work. They got the McAfee or whatever it was, did not work.
McAfee.
So then I'd gone in there and was like, I reckon I can give a go at this. Grandad went, there you go, have fun, thinking, yeah, he ain't gonna know what he's doing.
Done.
2 hours later, I managed to get rid of it. Don't ask me now, because I could not tell you for the life of me back then.
Yeah.
We're talking 22 years ago, say. Managed to get rid of it, and he was just like, Jesus, it actually ain't that bad. So then it was always pushed down that route.
Yeah.
So then the day came that I worked in an office full time, and I thought, can't stand him, can't stand her. I'm listening to the same stories and the same moaning. I'm in HR once a month, and I'm thinking, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
So then the look on my nan and granddad's face when I decided to say, I want to go and learn to be an electrician. You can imagine what that was like. But I get what you said on that side of stuff. Granddad was very disappointed in me to start with. He was like, but you're so intelligent with computers. Why do you want to waste your time doing this? And I'm like, I don't enjoy it. I want to do something that I love. And I think that's more important to me, doing something that I genuinely love versus doing something that would eventually pay well. Because there's no way I could sit in an office all day, every day. But the whole sort of, when you're younger in that sort of environment, I get that.
That's why I do something on the side, because I feel like sitting in that, doing that job of what I do every day, it's just mind numbing. And then I have something on the side, because if I don't keep my mind busy, then it's only down way, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like, but if you don't keep your mind active in general, that's just a downfall from the get-go.
A lot of people telling me like, oh, I invested in Tesla, I invested in Intel. Like, when was the last certificate that you got? When was the last school that you got? When was the last course you went on?
Yeah, it's all well and good doing these, I call them token things, token gestures. It's all well and good doing that, but what have you done for yourself to keep yourself going? And that's a big difference. But speaking about things that you've done for yourself, so if we go for your first lock, was it the Squire, or what was now the...
So it was Squire Attila. It was licensed by Squire, the company that makes locks now.
So what's the story with that then? So did you develop it, manufacture it? What was the
sort
of story with that?
So going back a couple of steps, once I designed that lock for a single disc, then I noticed, and as you said as well, going back and see what's wrong with it, and I noticed like, people can just lift the bike and take it.
Yeah.
So, or just cut disc. So I said, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a longer pin, and I'm going to sandwich both discs together.
Okay.
So it's one side on this, and goes through both discs.
Oh, right, I'm with you. So then it physically can't spin one side.
Exactly.
So even if you cut one, right, I'm with you.
You have to cut the other one, right? So I thought, okay, well, you have to cut one, you have to cut the other one. So they have to cut two discs. They're not going to tie the padlock in the steel because it's heavy steel. Then I thought, well, they're going to lift it. So what you can do is when you push it through the disc, you can attach a chain around the pole, push it through the wheel, before you push it through the disc, attach the chain on the other side.
Yeah.
And now it's locked with a chain. Now if they cut the chain, it's two pieces of chain to your bike.
Okay, so you're doubling up everything you've got to do. It's not just one task anymore.
Exactly that.
Okay.
My idea was just double up on everything that has to be done.
Double the time.
Yeah. So if they cut one disc, they have to cut the other disc and the chain. If they cut the chain, they have to cut two sides of the disc. So like, no matter where you're going to do it, you can't, well, you can, but it takes a long time. So once I developed the idea, I thought, well, okay, well, so I'm using this Squire padlock, right? I got it off eBay or whatever. And I thought, well, what's the best thing? So I just spam companies that have motorcycle security and just say, look, I got this device, patent pending. You can apply for a patent for your idea. You protect it for a whole year. I'm just going to go to these companies and see what they say. So the first one was Oxford Products.
Okay.
Hi, Oxford Products.
Shameless plug.
Should I do that? I don't even know if we do that.
Go for it.
Okay, so anyway, went to them. I kept emailing them, didn't answer. So I think at 8 o'clock in the morning, I just turned up to the offices and like, oh, I'm here. So
what, at Oxford office?
Yeah.
Where are they even based?
I think it was Oxford, actually.
Come off it. They're actually based.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's
they
what
are based in Oxford. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's just me being an idiot. Then. Fair enough.
So turned up. They told me who I need to see. I need to see an email. So I kept emailing him. He was like, oh yeah, let's just have a chat. I heard you were here. Let's have a chat. Turned up next day. Massive heavy duty stuff. Nicely packaged. So I designed packaging, everything. So I said, look, I'm looking for a partner that can provide the padlock and then outreach and retailing and stuff like that.
But that's not even a bad thing, because if you can approach a company that's already got the network, all you're doing is working your way into that network, and then automatically you've got everything.
And what a mistake I did.
Do you think?
Yes. Oxford has a huge network worldwide. So even if you think just giving stock to 5 of the stores that they are present in, give 2 products to every single store that Oxford is present in, we would have sold probably on the terms of 5,000 pieces just to give stock to those companies. That would have been 10 times the amount.
I get it. Right. So if they were to take the risk on you and say, okay, we'll buy
just keep 2 stock, yeah. On every single store.
Okay, so on a sales platform, yeah, I can understand.
We would have sold 10 times more than we did it.
Damn. It's a kicker, but at the same time, it's a learning curve.
Exactly. So I had a meeting with them. They were like semi-interested. They really liked me as a, like, you know, like, oh, how you came up with that and all that kind of stuff. Like, they were very interested in, like, do you know CAD or CNC design or Pro Design? I had no idea. I just made this. I was just like, figured it out.
I'm surprised they liked you.
Yeah, yeah. The guy it's not there anymore. He was very nice. He was an older gentleman. He was very nice. He appreciated the struggle and then the go-getting way of life. You know what I mean? Like,
older generations appreciate that, whereas like sort of new gen don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. Yeah, he appreciated me just turning up.
It's sad, really.
Turning up because no one answered the emails. Just like turn up. Hi, I'm here.
But that's the best way. Like my granddad, he used to do it on site work. So like he used to just rock up to the site agents and go, "Here's my card. If you need anything, here I am." Because anyone can just look at an email and go, "Don't worry about that." But when you're there in person, they can't ignore you.
Yeah, and I do think that, you know, people say like, "Oh, turn up to a company and give them your CV." You know what I mean? That is a stupid thing to do. That's never going to work out, right? Because the reception's going to chuck it in. But if
you get past the gatekeeper.
Well, yeah. But if you do have a company that you really want to work for, so I really wanted to work for Yamaha for a really long time, right? I've been emailing them every single time. I've registered every single career stuff. I went to the office in next to London. Was it High Wycombe, I think? There's somewhere there, and I've done, and I nearly got the job, but at the distance, right? Anyway, but I do think that works. So went to Oxford Products. They were semi-interested. Liked it, didn't like it, didn't want to do it. I don't know why we didn't go forward with it or what happened afterwards, but we didn't. So then emailed Squire, because I'm using their padlocks. They're semi-active in the motorcycle stuff. So like, look, would you like to get on board with me with this? Answer the first email. Turn up probably 2 weeks after. They've seen the product, they liked it. I've ordered a couple of some. Went on Alibaba, found manufacturer.
My favourite.
Order from Scopple's Hut. AliExpress is yours. This is Alibaba. This is
same difference, just bigger scale.
Yeah. Ordered a couple of samples. Super expensive to order one of each, but order them.
Yeah, you want to order a test sample. It's
it's just hundred. Yeah, it's not hundreds of thousands, but it's like thousands. Gave it to Squire, and they said, "Look, what we're gonna do with this is we'd like to sit off you. So I'll take care of manufacturing, ordering the product in. I'll give it to them all packaged up. They'll put their padlock in and the name into it, and they sell it. And then they were saying they have a big network of products and retailers and all that stuff. So I said, okay, that's cool. So they sent it to Sold Secure.
Yep.
And there wasn't such a thing of diamond rating. So Sold Secure, seeing the product, they were super impressed, and it became the world's first diamond rated disc lock. It literally killed every single disc lock in the market. It was the best.
So you basically shook up the industry when it comes to security products.
Yeah, literally set the standard of which everyone like. Gold was the biggest, now it's diamond. So the thing that did it is because the package that we sold for a single disc or a dual disc, so you could take it away or use it in-house. It was a really nice package, super, super tough to cut. And it just literally diminished every single test that they could throw at it at that point, right?
Yeah.
It became, and it went against large corporations, and they were very happy with it. However, and I can say this now here, is that they marketed it and they priced it as the world's first diamond rated disc lock.
That's mad. So
it came about £269 for the full set. I did market research and I said, look, £199 is the max you could go. 169, 199.
For what is essentially a disc lock.
For it's a disc lock, yeah. I said it's a high security one, it's world first. It will save your bike most likely, right? But you have to think about when you start charging someone near enough 300 quid with shipping. And a biker, most bikers, as we know, we don't have any money left in our accounts, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to live 2 weeks without 300 quid in my bank because I took a punt of trying on a new lock.
Yeah.
Because you get those U-shaped ones or a D-lock. You know what you're expecting, right? That's it. Done.
Click it on, squeeze it, off you go.
But when you get something that new, and I call it innovative because like R6 has no boot, right? I was storing that device, a diamond rated disc lock, I was storing it next to the battery under the seat. There's no space there. And I made it so you could take it apart as a puzzle and you could store it in a smaller space. I made it like that. Anyway, and no biker is going to take a punt on a new product for 300 quid, which back then, for 7, 8 years ago, was about a third of someone's salary.
Not when there's no real world scenario research on it.
Correct, yeah.
Like, you can sit there and give it all the accreditations and everything under the sun, but unless it's got real world scenario research, you're never going to go for it, in my opinion anyway.
You're right. And then Sword Secure was not as known back then. No one, like, MCL, we were at Motorcycle Life.
Well, I didn't know who Sold Secure were until you told me that you had a booking with them. And even then I had to go away and actually see who they were, because I genuinely didn't know who they were.
No, and loads of people came up to me on the show. It's like, oh, is insurance accredited? Is it Sword Secure?
Yeah,
and
that was like, one of the big things they were asking all the time, wasn't it?
So many people. And funny enough, like, even if you think like some of the partners of the biker guys, like wife and everything, oh, is it Sword Secure? Is it insurance approved? So obviously they are the more invest wisely, right? But I was so surprised. So many people. Back when I was doing the disc lock, not many people knew about it.
It's mad because, like I said, I genuinely did not have a clue who Sold Secure were, what they were, and what they were there for. And then when I was on the stand with you, because I was only there for like 4 days total, the amount of people who said, is it insurance rated?
Yes.
Is it Sold Secure rated? I'm like, I don't even know what this is until you'd explained it. So that was a bit eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing, because if more people are security conscious, they're already going, if I'm going to buy this, what category is it in? And is it the right product for me?
Yep.
I don't think it's a bad thing, because if you're in that bottom category, you kind of just, you're over there, aren't you? No one's really going to look at you to an extent, and I think we can all agree on that. Whereas if you're in the sort of top two, if you're in the diamond or the gold, you're going to go, well, I might have a look at that.
I think you're right, and I think one of the things you have to look at as well is that your investment, right?
Yeah.
You're investing money and you're investing something that has been tested to a standard.
And not just that, you think this across the board, whether it's motorcycle industry or cars or even home, whatever it might be.
Motorcycle gear, right?
Yeah.
AA, AAA rated.
If you're buying something at 10% of the general market cost, what are the chances that that's going to perform at something of 100% of the general market cost? And I think that fits across all industries. So if I go, right, I'm going to go buy a 10 quid lock off of my favourite AliExpress and expect it to keep my bike safe, if my bike gets nicked, who's the one to laugh at?
Yeah.
Because I was the one who bought the cheap lock.
Yeah, 100%.
And there's a reason why it's so cheap in the first place. Yeah. 99% of the time, it's cheap because it's a cheap product and it's not going to last.
It's the same as you getting a fake helmet off AliExpress, right? You can get an RI helmet.
Yeah.
Well, what's that going to do?
Do you want to know a fun fact?
Don't tell me.
No, that's a legit one. No, that's a legit one. So, talking like 2 years ago, I'd seen the Manx TT Shoei X SPR, and I was like, that looks sick. So I thought, I wonder if AliExpress, it's on there for like 90 quid. I was like, oh, it can't be that bad. Anyway, 2 track days at Silverstone, I'm wearing this AliExpress Shoei helmet. Crashed in that helmet, held up all right.
Did it really?
Yeah, but then when I'd actually realised it was a genuine fake, because on the back of it, instead of it saying Isle of Man, it said SLE of Man. There was no I.
Oh my God.
Because it was obviously a knockoff replica.
Wait a second.
But
you went on AliExpress and you bought them for 90, but only 2 tracks days later you noticed it was a fake one.
But it wasn't me pointing it out. Dom turned around and was like, that doesn't say Isle of Man, it says Slee of Man. I was like, no, don't. I looked at it, I was like, oh my Christ, I'd put my whole life trust into this helmet.
But you bought it for 90 quid of AliExpress, what did you expect?
Well, it's me.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think logically, did I?
True.
Then when I start meeting the right people, I start to think a little bit more sensibly.
Be more sensible.
But yeah, I like to say we've all been there, done it, got the T-shirt, but 90% of people are just like, no, you're the idiot on your own in the corner. So
yeah, but it goes with, and then going back to you said the standards and approvals, it goes back to everything, right? We have CE marks and everything. Like you being a Sparky, all these, like, all the cables and BS numbers. You have to be really careful, right? You take something from AliExpress and you put in your socket. I had a small socket, AliExpress small socket, and you melt it, right?
Yeah, because it doesn't go through all the rigorous testing that's required for the market. And like you say, it's funny because I know that for work. And anytime someone's like, oh, can you fit this for me? Oh, where'd you get it? Oh, I got it off like Amazon for like £10. I'm like, well, UK market's like 90 quid for them, so I'm not fitting it.
Not fitting it.
So I'm so safety conscious with that. But then when it comes to the bike stuff, I'll be honest, I was so naive to all the standards and what it had to go through. I thought, like, use the helmet. I thought a helmet was a helmet.
Yeah, and then do you know what the biggest problem we have now is? Like, if you see, John from Bennett, he's doing a big call-up mag, motorcycle action group, really, really good. They're doing a lot in the market in terms of making sure that all the gear that we get imported is proper gear. Some of them say 1A or AA rated or AAA rated, and they're nowhere near.
Yeah. just a false marketing strategy to reel people
Yeah,
in.
exactly that. Yeah.
But that also ties into what I think. Like with my solar business now that I've got with other people. So I feel a lot of, and I didn't used to think this at the start. It was kind of instilled upon me. 90% of any industry now, it's all education. It's teaching people exactly why it is this particular way, why it should be this standard, why you should do it like this rather than doing it like that. And I think that's the hardest point to get across. Especially like you say, when it comes to safety ratings, like you talk gear ratings and all that sort of stuff, why choose AA versus just standard CE armoured rating?
And you know what? Most of the times that education comes from YouTubers trying the gear out and saying how it fails.
It's trial and error.
And then you're right. I think
versus the wrong one.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the biggest market going forward as well. Like talk about AI and all that. Even if you have the AI, some people you can ask AI how to use AI, right? But still, the biggest part of us and the one that's lacking in the world is education on everything. Like people download courses of how to use AI. You could just ask AI how to use AI, right? And they still download courses.
Well, you say that. Have you seen? This is very off topic, but this week there was a group of friends that had asked AI what time a particular tide was in and out to get to this little island off the coast of the UK. So they asked it. It gave it the wrong times because they asked it the wrong questions. They then went out to this island, and it was only a local who was on there who said, "No, don't come back because you'll literally get caught in the current. You'll wash out. You'll lose your car." Because they asked it the wrong questions. So that's AI, but if you don't ask it in the correct way.
Continuing a little bit off topic, the problem with your AI is the AI is a yes man. Try ask it.
It doesn't want to try to tell you anything negative, no. It wants
Not
to
just
keep you
that,
positively uplifted.
Try ask, like, okay, I have this brand and I want the color red. What color works with that? Oh, the white one will work really well with that. Okay, what about pink? Yeah, pink will work really well with that. Okay, well, can I put some green in? Yeah, you could mix a bit of green in there.
It's positively influencing your idea to make you go and do it.
Yeah, like why not just tell me that, oh, no, blue, don't use blue. You know what I mean? You don't use blue with red. It's stupid. But again, it goes back to what you said, how you ask and what you ask.
Yeah, it's all part of it, isn't it?
And that's why the education comes in. Oh, yeah, going back to the Squire and stuff.
Yeah, let's finish up on that before, because I've got a few questions I want to ask you on the security topic.
So basically what they did is that they licensed it from us. So we packaged it in China, got it all made and everything. First batch, I was telling you, messed up. Took us back about 6 months to get another batch. Because everything is like, the thing is that the pieces that we made is so heavy, it had to be sea shipped. So on a boat.
Oh, it takes 3 months. 40 days. Oh, Jesus, 3 months. I'm talking 90
days.
Jesus.
90 days.
I remember looking at stuff like hot tubs last year, my uncle doing bits and pieces here, and I thought 40 days, people ain't going to wait that long. 90 days.
90 days. On a boat, and depending of like if you pay like, obviously if I'm on my own in a container and stuff, like it could probably come in like 40 days, 60 days.
Yeah, but that's a lot of added expense if you want your own specific container.
It's like $4,000 a container.
Jesus.
Just for a quarter pallet. Or 2 pallets.
Well, when I was looking at my visa with America, to ship my bike out to America in a single 20-foot container, it was 1,500 quid just for that. And it wasn't just my stuff in there. That would have been another 15, 20 people's worth of stuff. Yeah. So I know it's expensive.
Yeah, it is very expensive. And air, we could have brought it by air, but it would have added like, I don't know, like 20, 30 quid per part.
Yeah, if you're on like an Airbus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's really expensive. But yeah, so that took us back 6 months. We got the diamond rating. We placed the order. They placed the order. Took us back 6 months. Then, unfortunately, we spent a lot of money on getting a patent for it.
Okay.
Probably spent about 20 grand.
What did you try to get the patent for? Did you get the patent or?
No, we didn't get it in the end.
What did you try and apply for on that patent?
Actually, the design and the product and how it works and everything on the disc lock, because it was like such a new way of fitting a disc lock. And it was coming in parts, and he had like loads of claims, like it comes in parts, it can be snapped, it can be stored.
So why did they say no?
So it didn't. No, it's not they didn't get accepted. We didn't go through with it because 20 grand down. The lawyers were like, "Well, we probably wouldn't cost another 20 grand," and we were like.
But say you spent the 20k on that, and then they said we will accept this patent. Was there expenses after?
No. So the patent doesn't even cost money. I think it costs something about 1,200 quid. What you have is the lawyers that search the patents to make sure that you don't have a patent infringement with someone else.
With you.
Then what they do is that they'll write up your claims, they analyze your products, they'll see how they can protect your product, because otherwise you could come up and change something and then boom, done. You know what I mean? You could beat the patent straight away. So there's a lot of lawyers, a lot of people back and forth involved. And then there was a company that was, I think they were like literally taking the skin off our back. Like, oh, I need to send a letter, or I need to do 2 hours of this, $2,000. I need to do 3 hours of this, $4,000. Like back and forth emails. We were getting charged for
the
emails.
sake of it. They weren't actually trying to put you as their first interest. They're putting the dollar bills at the interest.
Exactly. You think lawyers are bad, but you just want to work with patent lawyers first. And then, like 18 grand down, I think it was 18 grand, I think we paid. 18 grand down. And then we noticed that, okay, well, if someone, actually we did talk with someone, I think a patent lawyer, another one. And he said like, well, the problem you have is that you spend that much money. But if a large corporation, and I'm not using this example as anyone else, but if Oxford or Ducati or Yamaha comes in, right, and they want to copy it, they'll get their lawyers to copy it in a way that they can beat your patent. And then you need to take them to court, which you're going to have to upfront that bill.
And you ain't going to be able to afford that bill over a 6-month period.
Yeah, and if they win, then they'll take your skin off your back.
Yeah.
And as a large business, as a small business, sorry, I don't think you will have the funds to protect your patent anyway. I'm not saying no one should do it. They should do it if they believe it enough.
Yeah, of course. If you've got that goal, you've got the aspiration, go for it. But I don't disagree with you. If you go up against a huge multi-billion-pound corporation, chances of you coming out on top are very slim.
Yeah.
And even if you do come out on top, can you afford the 6 to 12 month
and
solicitors' fees to run through all of that?
Exactly that. And you look at all these corporations like Abus and all these big corporations that are making locks. They surely could beat that patent if they really want to, right?
I'm sure there's intricacies they can look at, but if your patent is based on the fundamental principle of how that works, it's a lot harder. And
there's 4 or 5 different products that came to fruition after mine. So again, not using it as an example, but the Oxford Beast disc lock. It literally fits behind the disc and goes right on as a mushroom. That's pretty much the same idea. There's like 4 or 5 different stuff that.
The only one I've ever seen from Oxford, and it might not even be Oxford, the little yellow U-shaped one that just clicks in, half twist, and it's got that stupid poxy little nylon lead that you run up to the brake.
Oh
that way.
But yeah, there's a 4 or 5 products that came right after, and we could have challenged all of them based on the patent, right? Because the design was exactly the same way, fit through the disc, sandwich the disc together, but you would have never had the money to do it. And if you, as you said as well, a 6 months lengthy process of lawyers. I mean.
Unfortunately, I've been on the other end of it for work, where I looked at it and thought I need to take a company to court, and the company was a multi-billion pound airport, so the chances of that happening not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then I looked at it and I was speaking to a couple of like professionals in the industry, and they said if you want to go through with this, you will 100% win your claim. However, you've got to understand that it's going to take 6 to 12 months of solicitors' fees, court fees,
upfront that bill before you get it back.
Everything else in between. He said, do you have, and the figure was into the high 6-figure bracket, he said, do you have this to front this? And I was like, of course not.
Yeah.
And it was just, okay, well, cut your losses and just end it here. And I'm thinking, wow, as the small man versus the big man, you're always on the back foot.
And then the company that you attack, their lawyers want to waste your lawyer's time. Your lawyer's going to love it because you're going to put the bill. And then they catch you out on a letter that you sent. That you forgot about, and you lost all that money, plus you're going to have to pay their lawyer fees.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it. Anyway, it was good. The only problem we had is pretty much as soon as we launched, COVID came. So we did a massive order. I say massive order because we sold 500 to Squire, about 500 sets. There was some damage to like 460 something, which is really good. Like in terms of a normal business, I don't know if people probably know, but most businesses don't make money in the first couple of years.
If you break even by second year, it's a good business.
Good business. So
if you made profit within the first 2 years, you're going to be on like Forbes list in the next.
We made profit. We made profit on the first order.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we not just made profit. We paid that 18 grand of the lawyers as well.
That's
we
insane.
Wasted money.
That is so unheard of.
Plus, I recovered all my time that I put in as invention, and I had kept the receipts from 3D printing and all that kind of stuff. So
that's insane. So you covered your prelim time as well as your launched. That's that's insane.
Very meticulously calculated all the hours I put into design, all the 3D printer.
But you should as well, because it shows you exactly how viable your product is.
Mm-hmm.
You can't disregard any of the back office time because it all comes into it. It's
and you can backdate it. You can backdate it as well. So be really careful. If you're doing something, take everything notes, talk to your accountant. They can backdate stuff that you put in as a loan to the company.
Very important.
Company to pay you back. on design, on development, committing customers to keep all your receipts.
Yeah.
So it was good. COVID came in. I don't know if Squire has lost a bit of interest in it as well, but obviously we lost interest because we didn't have nothing else to do.
No one's
COVID.
going out and about, really, were they?
Yeah. So that killed it, pretty much.
That's a shame, man.
It's still alive. I still want to like recover it at one point because I still think it's a good product. However,
it's for a particular part of the market, isn't it?
It's a very
which
niche.
is like where you say it's niche. It's a certain part of the market that would be interested in that product versus which we're going to go into in a bit. Your TufLuck is as much as it's a premium product, it's a different part of the market.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's still very viable.
Yeah,
100%. It's very viable.
Yeah,
but it's for different parts of the markets.
Yeah, and that's why I would like to bring it back as well because the one product that we have now is it goes to a certain audience, it caters for a certain need.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to now develop one or two other ones that like catches other parts of the market as well.
Yeah.
Different price range, different use, and all that kind of stuff. So like have like a cover at least 10% of the market. At the moment we cover probably like 2%, especially as a new and innovative product.
I don't know. I think you'd be surprised. I think you'll cover a lot more than that. I do think you'll cover a lot more than that because people who are buying the bikes either new or they're getting their PCP deals and they're getting a bike that they absolutely love. I think any bike that's 10 grand above, if you've got a £10,000 bike plus in terms of that value and you've not got something like this, it's just, you might as well just kiss goodbye to it. I genuinely think as much as, okay, you're not necessarily going to have your bike stolen. Here's a fact for you. Do you know 27% of motorcyclists over their life will have a bike stolen?
So it's 1 in 4?
Yeah.
Jesus. 35,000 bikes being stolen every year in the UK. 100 bikes a day.
Here's another fact for you then on the theft topic. How many bikes have been stolen last year in the UK? Now this is, I'd like to disclaim this now, this is from various sources across the internet, so you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. Well, how many do you think?
45,000 or 36,000?
36,000 last year. So that was
depending on where you look.
Yeah, so this is all just Google and ChatGPT searches, so there's a kind of bit of pinch of salt to take here and there, but the trend has been a general decline over the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
How many, so 36,000 last year, how many do you think have been stolen this year? And the year's not fully up. I know we've only got a couple of weeks left, but...
I do know that I think in June I looked and this year we did as much as last year in theft. In June. So I reckon we made more.
It's not quite true.
Okay.
But carry on with your thinking. How much do you think have been stolen this year? 42,000 bikes have been stolen this year to date.
I know at one point in the year I was looking and I was like, wow, wait, that says 2025 we did this much in 2024. Like that's already year's not finished.
No.
When I looked at the numbers, years was not finished yet. Like it was very early, like June, July, September, October, something like that. Like not October, but September ways. And I was like, oh wow, we've already done what we've done in 2024.
It's going back up again. And I think it's going to continue to go back up again because there's not enough what's the word for it? The sort of the penalties and the punishments for doing it. It's nowhere near enough.
And not just that, taxes go up, bills go up, salaries go up, taxes on employees go up.
When money is tighter, people do more things that they necessarily wouldn't want to do in order to get more money in. So yeah.
The shopping is more expensive, the bike's more expensive, the phones are more expensive, the clothes are more expensive.
So here's one for you then, when it comes to terms of value. How much do you think in terms of market value are stolen every month in the UK on motorcycles? Now you say 40,000 a year, so you're talking, let's just do 10 months, 4,000 a month.
I think it's a high billions too.
£3 million a month is the cost.
3 million, the cost, yeah, I thought the value of the bike. Cost, okay.
£3 million a month is what's stolen. So yeah, when we was at Motorcycle Live and people were asking all sorts of questions about insurance and like sold and secure, this, that and the other, I went and done an insurance quote literally earlier on today to find out exactly what the difference was. So my insurance, I'm quite open with, is £800 a year for my Beamer. That's how much it cost me for the year. Now that's insured at a value of £10,000.
Yeah.
If that bike gets stolen, do you know how much my insurance goes up to?
£2,000.
£3,900.
So one of the things as well that the police says that you have to give at least 6 to 10% between that of value of your bike to spend on security. That's what the police says. And I think they're somewhat right because if you think you're getting
the average value of a bike, yeah. But you say what's the average? Like 6, 7 grand?
£7,000, yeah. So you're spending about £400 to £600.
If you're in London, double it and some.
And then this is what comes in. Is like I always say to people, like, well, your bikes get stolen. What's going to happen? One, the stress, the abuse that you're going to feel because someone came into your space, right? Taking your bike, you lose out on your accessories that fitted to your bike. You lose your bike that you really loved. You lose your excess, which is roughly about 500 quid. Because people want to save on insurance, put the excess up.
The excess premiums are ridiculous when you
right? 500 quid excess. Right? Why would you even have insurance? And the other thing is as well, like your insurance goes up. So I knew someone who's doing delivery in London.
Well, like I say, mine would fourfold if I had to declare a stolen bike.
Yeah. £1,000 his little scooter was. He was insured for 1,200 quid a year. His scooter got nicked. He claimed an insurance like an idiot. £4,000 insurance.
Crazy.
A year. Lost his job, lost his house, and he's living in something Glasgow now, of all the places.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Right?
It's mad. So again, we've doing a lot of research into this. So the most stolen bike in the UK is scooters and mopeds.
Yes.
They're courier bikes.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
They're the most stolen. Behind that, Superbikes.
Yep.
And behind that is adventure bikes. So it can go from a little Piaggio 50 to an S1000RR to a 1250 GS.
Yep.
That is the list in order, like proceedings that it goes. So they're the most stolen bikes in the UK. Another one that I wanted to go through with you, percentage-wise, how many bikes are stolen from the home? Out of 100% of all the stolen bikes.
It's low. About 30%, I'd say.
84% of bikes in the UK are stolen from the home, the registered address.
Okay.
Not at work. So when it's in your garage gets ripped open. That's 84%.
They go through the wall nowadays, don't they?
Well, do you know what? Irrelevant of how they do it, they come to your house.
Yeah.
Either break entry. So of that, I think it was 12% is a really small figure. Gain entry to the house to get the keys to the vehicle.
I had someone in the motorcycle live come up to me and say, "Is it not easier just to get the keys off the guy?"
Yeah, I was there when he said it.
Yeah, that's what they said to me, and I was like, actually, you got a point.
Yeah, but the flip side is then they're doing a second.
There's
a second crime. It's not just theft of a motor vehicle; it's then burglary into a property. So it's it all adds up.
Who's going to catch them?
This is another point. Percentage-wise, how many thieves out of 100% get caught?
I know this. It's 7%.
Nope. Keep going down.
Yeah, 2.
1%.
1%. There we go.
It's 1% of thieves actually get caught.
I was thinking 7 is low.
Yeah, well, keep going down. 1% of thieves get caught when it comes to stealing.
What was the bike? Do you know the percentage of the bike get recovered?
It depends who you look at. So I looked at Data Tool for their theft statistics. Theirs are really high in terms of recovery because their trackers are so quick. You call them, done.
But then it's only on expensive bikes.
There is that. I mean, don't get me wrong. You do see the odd one every now and again that like courier bikes and stuff like that. But Data Tool typically are only bought by people who are paying decent amount of money for them because they're expensive bikes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think anyone should be deterred from spending good money to keep their property safe because even if your bike's only £3 or £4, for 90% of people who that is their enjoyment, that's their hobby, that's their weekend get out. If that gets nicked, could you afford to go out and spend £3 or £4 on it?
Well, it's not just that, but can you afford to insure it afterwards?
This is the problem, like I said to you earlier. So the increase in insurance costs, you almost price yourself out of the game. If it's gone, you can no longer then go in and do and enjoy your hobby, which I think is the most important bit. But getting on to...
I don't think going back to your point of like spending a lot of money on your security, I don't think it's a point of like you have to spend the value of your bike, or you have to spend a certain value. You just need to be smart of the money that you spend because I see... We're going to talk about mine in a minute, but some people might say it's a little bit costly, right? Because it has a price. But then again, you see some people say like, "Oh, I lock it with 2 chains, 2 padlocks, 3 disc locks, and a D-lock," right? If you put all that together into one good one, then you don't need to bother with a stress, and you rest assured, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a point as well. It's like just invest what you can. And the best protect your bike, because as you said as well, if it's your hobby and if it's you imagine suffering mental illness. I heard loads of people getting broken into their house, never feel safe again in their life.
That's the other thing as well. So you never feel safe within your own environment, and that was one of the big things. Like I watch Mark. I don't know if you know Mark McCann. He does a lot of the bike stuff.
I think so.
Ex-racer, and he does a lot of automotive content on YouTube. I watch him religiously. Him and Matt Armstrong. And the amount of people he goes to, so he just had one recently, an M4 got stolen from this guy's house. So they went on the first visit. They ripped a key safe off of the side of his house, took it away, managed to get into it and got the key for the back door of the house. Then went early hours in the morning, unlocked the house, went into the living room, through into the kitchen, got his keys, and then went to go and take the vehicle on a second visit. And you think they've got into his house to
Mark,
do
you're
that.
the rich guy with the McLarens and stuff. Yeah, I know who that is.
So they nicked the keys and got into the house. So then he said, now things have calmed down. I'm glad that I didn't see them, and I'm more glad that my wife didn't come down and see them, because she would have never mentally got over the fact that somebody else was in the house. And that's a whole different story on its own, because I don't think you can ever comfortably get over the fact that someone has got into your house and you could do nothing about it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the worst bit about all of it.
The example I'm speaking of is like a girl called Lee, and they broke into her home while they were upstairs sleeping. They rummaged in the whole house downstairs, nicked the laptops and everything that was downstairs while they were sleeping upstairs. And then their bedroom door was open when they woke up in the morning, which they never leave open apparently, because it's like an older house, it's a draft. And this is like, 13, 14 years ago. She's not been sleeping ever since. And that people got the laptops.
Are crazy, aren't they?
All the wedding pictures were on them, everything. They had no backups, nothing.
And it's funny because the amount of people who say, oh, if someone come into my house, I'll do this, I'll do that. And you think, okay, you mentally think that. Mate, I've been there, I've said it. Me and Danny have said it in the van in like passing conversations and that. But the reality is, if you've got 3 blokes in that house who care nothing about your health, your safety, your security, you've got no hope. I don't care what anybody says. You could be the biggest hardest bloke on the planet.
People say that.
They care less about what
Have you ever seen an accident to happen in real life in front of you?
No.
A car accident?
Oh, yeah, car accident. I thought you meant like...
What's the rush? Like you feel the rush. Like...
Yeah, that's just you, let alone the people involved.
And let alone when you're relaxed state, watching telly, and 3 blocks are right in your house.
You're not in the mind space to be dealing with that.
You don't have the training to be in the mind space. That's the thing.
No, of course you don't.
All the military people, you know, when they constantly they keep scaring them, waking them up at 3 o'clock and putting them out of their comfort zone.
It's desensitizing them to that.
Correct,
yeah,
that's 100%. It. Yeah, not many people know that. You're not going to train just to know how to use a firearm. It's to be desensitized.
Yeah, they're not training you so you can be woken up abruptly at 3 in the morning. There's a reason they train you to do that. But that all comes into it.
I wish someone could do that to me, to wake up at 6 every morning and feel fresh.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Shit, I feel a bit beaten up.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But yeah.
Should we get your lock in? Have a look at this.
Yeah, let's do that. So we're back after Sharky managed to lift this up. It weighs as much as you, though.
Okay, so I know this inside out now. I spent a lot of time with you in the product.
Yep.
But how long have you been developing this for? Since the very first design of this to start off with?
It's probably about 18 months, 16 months.
Okay. What was the thought process of designing it in this way? What first got you thinking about designing this product?
One of the things is obviously, again, I'm going back to the single point of failure. Okay, well, if you put a chain, they'll cut the chain. If you put a padlock, they cut the padlock. If you put whatever device you want to put, like not just a hip lock or a light lock, they'll lift it.
Yeah.
What I wanted to do something that bolts to the ground and obviously restricts you removing or someone else removing your front wheel, taking the bike away.
Yep.
It's not a new concept per se. There used to be like a very old brand. I don't remember what they've been called, but they used to make something like this, but in a bigger box.
Okay.
I was thinking about this one day as well, what was the brand called? But what it was doing is it was encasing your whole front wheel and pretty much some of your suspension as well. So it was like a huge box.
Big old unit.
Yeah. So it's a very big. But it's been a really, really old concept and used to have a patent on it that ran out like a long time ago. Like I'm talking about like 90s, 97s.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
Stuff. So like...
Good year, 97.
Yeah. And then I noticed it. So I started playing with the idea. So what the idea is, like, I bought a wheel chock off a company. You know the normal ones that like a black, made out of sheet metal.
Wide platform, so it keeps you
Not
stable.
even no platform, just literally on his own. It literally just had the spinning part and then
like
the front.
X-shaped ones.
Yeah. Exactly that. So I bought one of them and then I started playing with the ideas like, okay, well, I want to lock the wheel in and how do I do that? So then I started, again, going back to Fusion 360, which is a CAD design software, but you also have an option there to design stuff out of sheet metal.
Okay.
So then I started playing with the sheet metal, and then, the software telling you, oh, you can't bend it that way. I was like, okay, well, how can I bend it the other way? So I started bending it left, right, center to came up with something that is literally that wheel chock that I originally purchased, but beefed up and has more stuff around it. And literally the whole design incorporates that wheel chock inside.
Okay, I'm with you. So when it comes to the security side of stuff, so what does this boast? Obviously, the first thing to point out as well, so Cal has just gone through a sold and secure. So this is due to be or has now been approved for insurance category in terms of I can call up my insurance provider and say, I've got a TufLuck fitted now.
Yep.
What is my insurance premium going to be like now I've got this device in? And you've got the diamond rating on this.
Yes. So
this is the highest rating you can get.
So the highest of the highest rating. So one of the things that people do is they, even though they have a ground anchor, they'll test it for power cycle diamond, which is a motorcycle category.
This is what we were talking about yesterday, wasn't it?
So it's a motorcycle category and it is a diamond rating, but the tests are very reduced. So let's say like if you're thinking about an angle grinder test, then they'll have 90 seconds to attack it.
Yeah.
But what we've done, because obviously the nature of the product as well, we went outside of the motorcycle industry. So we went for, there's a category in Saltico that's called ground anchors and posts.
Yep.
And we went for that one. And that one has 5 minutes of attack. So of every single attack, there's about nine attacks, 5 minutes, and you're not allowed to replace anything on your product. So the same padlock being drilled, hammered, angle grind, and pry barred for 5 minutes straight. And then the pin on this side, the locking pin, you'll see in a minute, they're the same. So everything on this was tested about nine different attacks, sometimes doubled, and everything took 5 minutes. So when you think about the power cycle diamond, most of the tests are 3 minutes or less.
Yeah, I'm with you. So this is where like we weren't arguing, but we're back and forth on it. So when you said this was off what they quote unquote said was the world's first diamond rated ground anchor, I said, well, no, it's not, because we need to make sure we're 100% right with this, because I've looked at X, Y, Z and they've all got a diamond rating. And you said, no, I'll explain this to you. And I couldn't think of why I was wrong, because when you go onto the categories, you've got a particular wheel chock product that says it's a diamond category. And it says quite clearly it's the ground anchor section. When you actually delve into it a little bit more, they never went for the diamond rating within the ground anchor category.
Correct.
They went within the power cycles, but they are known as a ground anchor, which is where it's massively different, and that's the most important bit.
And it's very confusing, because what I think it should have is it should just have power cycle diamond if you use it for motorcycles, right? And then you have diamond, gold, and bronze.
This is what we were saying earlier. It should, in my opinion, like I know we're slightly different on the opinions with this, but I think it should be a mobile bike security and a fixed bike security. So they're two different ones. So like the light locks, for example, they're a mobile security product versus the TufLuck, which is a fixed product. Because even though, yes, you can move it, it is designed to be fixed into a specific location.
Exactly.
I think that should be the only two differentiations between the two.
It's slightly confusing, because as you said, it's like I think on Saltico there's like a product type. It says ground anchor.
There's way too many in there.
And then it says it's diamond, but then it's not actually a product type. It's just a product type in the power cycle diamond.
It's almost like a description of what the product is versus the specific test of what that's gone through. Because those other products haven't gone through a ground anchor diamond test, which is the most important thing to know. They've gone through the power cycle test.
Power
cycle
test
is massively different.
Either just keep your power cycle or just keep your ground anchor, and then you should do it like that. For some reason, the ground anchors, I think they're beefier security, so they've been broken out. Because if you think, they don't have a disc lock and a chain section, they only have power cycle section.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they're not separated; they're combined together and put into one.
For some reason, the ground anchor is outside of that, and I do think that reason they went for that is because there's ground anchors for cars and for caravans and stuff.
Yeah.
And the posts, that they come out the ground.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So somehow that's the really difficult test, and no one's been in it with a motorcycle product.
Because this is what I couldn't wrap my head around. Because what's the one that is it the A1000 or the A100 that
AX1000?
That's it.
Yeah.
So like that one to me, I look at that and go, it's ground anchor. But it's not in the ground anchor test. The ground anchor test category, because it's been tested within the power cycle category.
Power cycle, yeah. So it only gets 90 seconds of the attacks, when the ground anchor and post category diamond gets 5 minutes of everything.
Which is a massive difference.
It's a huge difference. It's near enough 50%. Well, 30.
It's a massive difference.
Well, it's huge, because if you think about it, like, even though everything is bulky here, 30% extra is a lot of time.
It's a heck of a lot of time. So
tell you what, when I was going through the test, 5 minutes is a long time.
yeah, but you're sat there. Sat there as the designer, like, come on, I know this product's good, but there's always that element of doubt within your own head.
Every point. The thing is as well, what I really liked is Secure, super professional. Like they were doing some of the tests. He was drilling the pin, and I was like, that pin is CNC machine, right? And you're drilling the middle of it. Like that's gonna do nothing. And they continued the whole 5 minutes. The drill didn't move for 4.5 minutes. They did the 5 minutes that the test was doing. They even sometimes they replaced the battery or replaced the drill bit, and it still continued and still didn't do damage. So they're very professional. But I always was sitting there thinking, oh, any minute it's gonna snap. Any minute it's gonna.
I guess that's the reason though. But like that's why insurance categories use companies like Sold and Secure, because they know 100% that they are rigorously tested to sit within that category, and there's a reason why they have the categories that they've got to showcase that we have tested this to its maximum capabilities. And this product sits in this category. There's no ums and ahs about it. It 100% sits in this category. So you can offer that customer a discount because it's in the top category.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing at all. And to be honest, like being transparent with the customers as well, like, you know my TikTok as well. I try to show everything to everyone, how I do it, how the challenges. I could have gone for the smaller test, the Power Cycle Diamond, and be happy and then just rest assured, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted to also push it to the limits. And I was like, what if this can survive the 90 seconds, but we'll never actually find the true value of this, of doing the 5+ minutes. Like if someone says to me tomorrow, like, let's do a 10-minute one. Come on, let's do it.
Let's give it a go, see what happens.
Let's give it a go. And why would I say that? Maybe they'll beat in 7 minutes.
Why can't you be the first one to be in that category as well?
Yeah, exactly. But if they beat in 7 minutes, then I'll go, oh, I know where you're beating it. So I can beef it up. Again, I'm going back to the single point of failure. That's how you're beating it. So I can design it again.
Exactly. It's that whole learning curve. It's learning what the weaknesses are and going, okay, well, how can I improve this?
Yeah.
So with that then, so they done obviously angle grinding, saws, pry bars, and Christ, that pry bar was massive.
Huge, isn't it?
But let's talk more specifically about the lock. So obviously the product itself, ground anchored in. How many fixing points have you got total now?
Up to 9.
Up to 9 and
M12.
M12, and we went through this at the show. Is it 20 tons of uplift force required?
It's about
in concrete?
4 to 6 tons per, well, depending on what concrete you're putting in, obviously. But the M12 bolts are rated between 4 to 5.5 tons pulling power.
And is that collective for all 9?
No, each.
Okay, so collectively then you're talking 25, 30 plus tons.
Yeah, easy, yeah.
Okay, and then when it comes to the lock, so without me interjecting, because I know everything about this anyway, but for you as the manufacturer, you're the designer of it. So how does this lock work essentially?
So breaking it down to people that never ever seen it, what you do is, let me just quickly remove this for now.
We'll get a close up of this so people can see exactly what it's like, but just for argument's sake.
So just for you, the main idea is that you will fix this to the ground. You got the 9 anchor points, and most of them are either behind the wall that's protecting them, or underneath this thing. So basically, once you put bike in, you can't get to the bolts. But the idea is you actually ride, or well, we don't say ride, but push the bike in, and that will literally fold up, hold the wheel in. So the idea is that this is a wheel chuck in the front, and the wheel chuck here, it will literally just cradle the wheel, hold the bike upright, and then you don't have a problem. You can get off your bike after that. You don't need a side stand, a middle stand, nothing on it. And then what you basically do after that is you take this, it's a CNC machine pin, it's about 3 kilos on its own, and all you do is push it through the wheel. So this pin will literally go through the wheel, between the alloy wheel and the disc lock. So what it does, it protects, well, it stops the bike being pulled out of it, so fixes the wheel in place. But also these sides, what they do is they'll protect the axle, the spindle, is it called? The spindle to be removed from the axle, so they can't remove the front wheel. So now you have the locking pin sandwiched in the middle of the device. You can't cut that because you don't have access to it. It's thick 35 mil steel on the outside of the pin, so that you can't cut the pin, you can't cut the padlock, as Saltiker has proven, and you can't remove the front wheel, and you can't get the bolts out because the bolts are underneath the wheel. So you're running out of options of what you can do, pretty much.
Yeah, because when I thought about this logically, unless you can, like you say, laser cut the side of it, you can't get access to the spindle, you can't get access to the pinch bolts, you can't get access to 90% of the parts that you need to gain access to in order to get it away. The only thing you can do is cut the forks, and the reality is no one's going to be cutting forks to steal a bike.
No way.
So
no, there's no, that's never going to happen. And the other thing as well is like even if you would cut all the way around, so. John from Bennett, he actually tried to cut all the way around on the bottom to think, okay, I'm going to pull it off the floor. Okay, but now it's off the floor after about 20 minutes of cutting. But the bike is still attached, so that the two sides are still on the bike.
Yeah.
So now you have probably about 30 kilos attached to the front of the bike. So even if you lift it, you have loads of sharp edges and corners that can cut you and stuff, damage the bike and all that jazz. So now you have another challenge, right? And that's not going to happen because your neighbor's bike or the other bike on the town center it's not secured.
It's an easier target.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is what I always say I said to the show, some people were laughing. It's like, I'm in the business of saving you time and wasting someone else's time. And this is not how should I say, like, this is not the kryptonite that will kill Superman. You know, it can be beaten, but you need to have the right scenario. So you need to have the right tools, the right time, the right battery, no adrenaline situation, no this and no that. And all I can say is Saltecure has given the best of the best to beat it. And I left Saltecure's station or the testing center with this still be anchored into the ground with the wheel in place after probably from 10 o'clock till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Which so 5 hours of planning, selecting your tools, and doing the test. So 5 minutes per attack. So 5 minutes of drilling the padlock, 5 minutes of angle grinding the same padlock, 5 minutes of drilling the cylinder of the padlock, then 5 minutes of hammering it, then 5 minutes of pry buying, and this is just the padlock. Then they've done pretty much, not exactly the same all of it, but they've done the same on the other side of the locking pin, drilling and cutting it. And then they did the body as well. So then they started hammering the body, drilling out the anchoring ground, the bolts.
Yeah.
Because it's M12, I mean, what can you drill? Even if you drill half of it out, still holds in the ground. Most of them are underneath the wheel. And then they started attacking the body. So they took them probably about 5 minutes just to gain some sort of access to the pin, but yet to do damage to the pin. So you're looking at 20 minutes plus of a continuous attack. Solid. You're looking at 10 discs, 12 discs, 2-3 batteries.
Yeah.
And the reason is as well is that this is structural steel. It's a certain grade that is tough. It bends, but also is a softer steel. Okay. Meaning loads up the disc, slows the disc down a little bit.
Oh, I'm with you. Yeah.
And also withstands freezing attacks. So if someone comes and somehow has enough freezing liquid to freeze the whole thing. Because one of the things, you could freeze it here, but because it's steel, the heat transfer happens really fast.
Yeah.
But it's loads of steel, so you need to cool down all the steel to freeze it to attack it, and even then it doesn't become...
You only need to hold a piece of metal in the middle of winter, and you know how cold it is.
Exactly, yeah.
It draws all the heat away from you in order to keep it into the metal.
But because it's not hardened steel, keeps obviously cost down for the end customer, and also it's not susceptible to freezing attacks.
So before we end today's podcast then, so price-wise, what are these priced at the moment on the website?
So they're $599. We decided not to increase the price after we got the diamond certification.
Okay, that's cool. And correct me if I'm wrong, is the discount code still active for people to get discounts on here?
Just for yourself, yeah.
Wicked. So that's Shark44, isn't it? Something
Shark44 is the discount code. You will save 5% of ordering one online.
And there is a delivery charge. However, you can collect from Milton Keynes or Northampton or anywhere in that sort of area.
Milton Keynes, 20-mile radius, we even deliver for free. No problem.
Perfect. Brilliant stuff. Right. Well, thank you very much for coming on today, Cal. I really appreciate it. TufLuck is, as much as we're close in terms of the friend side of stuff, taking that away from it, this is a wicked bit of kit. It doesn't matter which way you look at it. And even the guy from HipLock came over and said he's looked at this so many times throughout the time he was at Motorcycle Live, and he's just looked at it and gone,
he loved it.
This is insane. Like, he loved everything about it. He gave you a product to try and say, can you integrate ours in with it? Like, he loved it. Yeah. So I think that says a lot in its own sort of capacity as well. So thank you for coming on. And if you've got any questions relating to TufLuck, I'm sure Cal's more than happy to answer any questions that come through. Likewise, if you've got any questions, feel free to fire them at me. I'll try my best, and if I don't know, I'll ask Cal. He'll tell me, and I'll tell you.
Yep.
But other than that, yeah, thank you very much for today, mate.
Nice one, thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having this beast on your little coffee table.
Yeah, it's done all right. Actually,
I'm surprised that you
it's done all right. That's like me holding Danny.
But if you do leave a comment regarding the product, I'm more than happy to answer you in the comments. So.
I'll leave your website in the link in the description anyway, so everyone can click through and go through to that. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Stay tuned for next Tuesday, and we'll upload the next video. Take care. See you in the next one.
So he only is ending it because he had enough of me.